Life Audio.
Welcome to the Team Us podcast, where we share how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together. Hey everyone, we are the Slaters, and I'm Ted.
And I'm Ashley. Ever said I'm sorry just to move on? You're not alone. In this episode, we're talking about how to apologize in a way that actually heals and not just hushes the hurt. We'll share what experts say about why it's so hard to say sorry, what makes an apology sincere, and how humility can transform even the most awkward moments into deeper connection. So, Ted.
Hello.
Today we are talking about something that every relationship needs, but not everyone gets right.
Absolutely.
And that's how to say I'm sorry and actually mean it.
Yes.
So
before we do, can I point out that I liked when you said an apology in the intro, a way that actually heals, not just hushes the hurt. That's a great way to phrase that.
Yeah, because so often we just want to
hush the hurt.
Yeah, we want to shut it up.
But what about complete healing?
Yeah.
Or partial healing?
Yeah.
So anyway, I appreciated the way that you
thank you.
characterized that. I'll stop interrupting for a couple seconds.
Well, before we dive into the practical side, I came across a 2025 study about how Americans apologize. And I think you're going to find some of these results fascinating.
Yeah.
So the study looked at how often people say sorry and which states do it the most.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the researchers surveyed just over 2,000 people. I mean, that's not really a huge representation.
But it's sufficient to get for a scientific study.
Yeah. So do you want to hear some of the results?
I do.
Okay. So, and I'll have a link to this in the show notes so people can go look at it themselves.
Before you do this, I'm fluent in Spanish. So when you say sorry, I'm thinking there are a couple of different ways to say sorry in Spanish. So it communicates different things. If I bump into somebody, it's a sorry or excuse me, or if you're trying to push through a crowd, or if you have to apologize. So I'm interested in seeing where you're going to go.
Okay, good.
Because I know it's a big term.
Yeah.
It means a lot of different things.
Yeah. Well, okay, back to the study. Apparently people in Iowa, Utah, and Ohio topped the list with saying sorry about 4 or more times a day.
Sorry?
Yeah. But the study didn't clarify whether those apologies were things they could control or just the oops, I bumped into you kind of apology.
Yes. Yeah.
So that didn't seem to be specific. I mean, I kind of scanned it rather than read it super closely.
Sure.
But so on the flip side, Californians, North Carolinians, and Tennesseans, that was hard to say, apologized the least, averaging only 2 times a day.
And that doesn't necessarily mean they're less apologetic or less, conviction or whatever. It's just, I'm interested in seeing.
Well, I mean, honestly, if someone were to ask me how many times I apologize a day, I don't know.
Yeah. I would say, I'm sorry, I don't count that. Oh,
right. And sometimes we say, I'm sorry you're going through this. Or I'm sorry that happened to you.
Kind of sympathy for others.
Right. So there are, like you said, there are multiple ways to say I'm sorry or meanings in Spanish. And I think in English too, even though we use the same word.
You're right. Like love.
Right. Exactly. Okay. But here's where I thought it got interesting. Almost half of the people surveyed, 48%, admitted that their apologies are only sometimes or rarely sincere.
Whoa.
Right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. I mean, apologizing is just something we do every day. I mean, I can't imagine not apologizing.
Right. Yeah. Well, okay. So speaking of sincerity, the states that scored highest for it were Pennsylvania, Iowa, and Illinois. That's if the respondents were being honest. And our current home state of Arizona came in 4th.
There you go.
So that was interesting.
Go Arizona.
Yeah, but here's what really caught my attention. More than 1 in 3 people said the hardest person to apologize to is their spouse or partner. And I thought that was both fascinating and kind of heartbreaking.
It's a little heartbreaking because I guess an apology requires some vulnerability or authenticity.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
If you can't, be honest and sincere with your spouse and vulnerable with an apology, I mean...
Or humble enough to say I was wrong.
Exactly, right. I mean, if you feel like you should be apologizing, you're resisting it, your spouse probably is thinking you should apologize.
Yeah. And so today that's where we're going.
Okay.
We're talking about how to say sorry to our spouse and mean it. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see what some experts have to say about why apologizing can feel so hard and what makes an apology truly genuine.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I was finishing undergrad and got credit cards because I couldn't work full-time. So that started the credit card journey for me.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-793-8548.
And then when I got married, we combined our credit card debt and it became impossible to pay off on our own. At that point, I was like, I don't know where to turn. And then I found Trinity.
Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
I initially was scared to call, and immediately I felt relief. I mean, in a matter of 3 years, we've already paid down $20,000 in credit card debt, which is huge.
Call Trinity at 1-800-793-8548. That's 1-800-793-8548.
Did you know Gen Z and millennials are leading the resurgence in church attendance? New research from Glue and Barna shows that they're now attending church more often than older generations. That's a historic shift. And behind this discovery is Glue, spelled Gloo. Glue has a mission to serve those who serve, pastors, leaders, publishers, and more. And they do it by connecting the faith ecosystem with the latest research, technology, and values-aligned AI. That's high-tech for a higher purpose. See the research yourself. Just text the word JOIN to 46816. Again, that's JOIN to 46816.
All right, so we're back. Let's talk about why apologizing can be so hard. Because before we can get better at it, I think we have to recognize the hurdles, both the general ones and the personal ones that we might struggle with ourselves.
Yeah, I've got stuff to say, but I'll wait for you to say something that'll prompt it.
Okay. All right. So I recently watched a TEDx talk from psychologist and author Dr. Mike Ballard. I hadn't heard of him before I watched the video, but it was good. In it, he shares 3 reasons we, as in people in general, tend to stink at apologies.
Stink.
So are you ready for them?
I am.
All right. The first one is we don't want to face the consequences of our actions.
So we think if we ignore it and don't bring it up and don't apologize, there will be no consequences. We'll just brush it on the rug and it'll cease to exist.
Or maybe we don't want accountability.
Accountability.
Dr. Ballard says we don't want to get in trouble, so we make excuses, we shift the blame, or we just flat out lie.
It sounds like conflict. Like, if we experience conflict, it's there.
Right.
It already exists. You don't cause conflict if it exists already. You're working through it. And maybe the same way with an apology. An apology is required, but
right.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I think this, this idea of not wanting to face the consequences isn't anything new. I mean, we see it in the first chapters of Scripture, right? When Adam and Eve sinned, they didn't go looking for God and say, hey, we messed up. We're sorry for not trusting you and eating the fruit you told us not to eat.
It's kind of human nature. It's in our nature to maybe avoid apologies, avoid dealing with, something that needs to be, forgiveness needs to be asked.
Right. I mean, they hid, they blamed each other, they blamed the serpent, and they even blamed God. I mean, Adam was like, the woman you gave me. Right?
Oh, jeez. That's kind of immature.
So, I mean, it's, yeah.
Badly done, Adam. Badly done.
All right. So number 2, second reason we stink at apologies is we cling to perfectionism. I thought this was interesting.
I don't have much to cling to. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Ballard tells it's really more about identity when we unpack it on what he was saying. He was saying he tells a story of a man who grew up believing that admitting fault made him less worthy and less valuable as a person. So his identity was tied to being right. So if he apologized, his identity was at stake.
But nobody is right. Nobody's perfectly right. So it's
but it takes maturity to realize that.
Yeah. It takes reality to
Right. Well, an article over at Psychology Today reinforced this idea. The author says that in her work with couples, she's learned that many are afraid that acknowledging their spouse's accurate criticism and taking responsibility for their actions reinforces a negative self-image, and they don't want to be viewed as the bad one. So if I think people internalize it too much as, this is not what I did, this is who I am if I accept it.
Got it. Is there anything about me that's worthy of criticism?
Probably. We're not going to dive into that here on that, because I've got my own stuff that's worthy of criticism. Okay. All right.
I think what I'm saying is that we acknowledge that we've got shortcomings.
Yeah, but I mean, we're 23 years in. I think we've gone through some, a learning process of getting better at that.
Yeah.
I mean, we still both get defensive sometimes.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. Like sometimes, I mean, you'll bring up how I may have unintentionally hurt your feelings. And instead of thinking about it and apologizing, I'm like, but I didn't mean to. It wasn't my intention. I go there instead of trying to step into your shoes and see how you try to imagine how you felt.
Okay, yeah, that's good. We all can improve.
Right.
Grow.
All right. Number 3, why we stink at apologies.
Yes.
We are prideful.
Yes. I would think that's like the foundation of it.
Right.
There.
Yeah. He notes that our pride whispers, you're right, they're wrong. And even when we want to try to apologize, pride can sneak in and we say things like, I'm sorry if, or I'm sorry but, or I'm sorry you feel that way, which are not real apologies.
No, a real apology is tricky because it requires two people. It doesn't require two people, but it works best if two people are involved in the process, committed to the process. If I have something to apologize for and you're not receptive, I don't know.
But still, I mean, if I'm not receptive and you apologize, you've done all you can do.
This is true. Absolutely true.
Because sometimes people won't be receptive.
Right. An apology is like releasing you. Wait, what is an apology? Sorry.
We're gonna talk about how to get an apology right.
I'm rambling and I'm going off on weird tangents.
So after he presented these 3 points,
yes,
here's where Dr. Ballard added a twist. He says there's a pattern in these 3 reasons, and it's the real reason we aren't great at apologizing. And it's this: our apologies are centered on us. We're thinking about how we feel, what we're risking, how we're being perceived, and we've completely forgotten the other person.
That's good. I've heard that humility isn't thinking less of ourselves, but thinking about ourselves less.
Yeah, which makes sense.
So we don't think poorly of ourselves, but we just are we try to be a little more other-centric.
Yeah.
So yeah, humility, opposite of pridefulness.
Yeah. Well, and he says that when we've hurt someone, and for our context, we're talking about our spouse on this episode, we can't make things right until we try to step into their shoes, until we stop focusing on our discomfort and start trying to understand their experience.
Right, trying to sympathize with them.
Yeah. And he actually says an apology isn't for us. It's for the other person because it's an act of empathy. And that's the challenge because we have to lay aside our insecurities and put our spouse's pain above our excuses.
That's good. I'm thinking about that. So I would be motivated to apologize out of love for you. Maybe not so much about me saving face, but...
Right. Because if you're saving face, you're going to do things like, I'm sorry you feel that way, or I'm going to be like, I didn't mean to hurt you.
Right. Or it was only a such and such.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So once we're ready to take that uncomfortable but important step and actually apologize, what makes an apology real or genuine? We're going to take another short break, and when we come back, we'll share the recipe for a sincere, meaningful apology.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need, along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-793-8548.
My name is Julie, and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-793-8548.
Did you know that Gen Z and millennials are leading the resurgence in church attendance? That's right. New research out from Glue and Barna as part of the State of the Church initiative shows that Gen Z and millennials are now attending church more regularly than older generations. This is a historic reversal in church trends. And Glue, spelled GLOO, is at the center of all of this. They're the technology platform for the faith ecosystem, connecting you with the latest research, technology, and values-aligned AI that supports churches, and ultimately, human flourishing. Glue is on a mission to serve those who serve, the pastors, leaders, publishers, and more in the faith ecosystem. That's high tech for a higher purpose. You can stay up to date with everything happening at Glue and across the entire faith ecosystem by texting JOIN to 46816. And when you text today, they'll send you the latest research from Glue and Barna about this historic church trend. Again, that's the word JOIN to 46816.
All right, so we're back. What's the recipe for a sincere, meaningful apology? Well, it's not just about saying, I'm sorry, and moving on. There's more to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first one is to have a humble heart. I mean, we've already talked about pride and humility.
Right.
And you talked about how humility is thinking less about ourselves. It's also accepting reality.
It's
right.
Exactly right. Humility is saying, yes, God, that's true.
Right.
Even if I don't want to acknowledge it.
Well, and in the book, I haven't read this entire book. I just read pieces of it. Sorry, 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 The Case for Good Apologies. Authors Marjorie Engel and Susan McCarthy write, acknowledging that you owe something, even if it's the two words, I'm sorry, because you were cruel or ignorant, then apologizing well for it, that's hard because it puts you in a subordinate position. And that's why so many people resist apologizing.
That's a good, that word owe, acknowledging that you owe something. You owe somebody an apology. Mm-hmm. That's interesting use of that term, owe.
Right. And I think it's in next week's episode when we talk about forgiveness that we'll dive into forgiveness and releasing what's owed to us. Mm-hmm. So this is kind of setting a good foundation for that. Yeah. And I mean, as followers of Jesus, we're called to humility even when it's uncomfortable.
So when you say it puts you in a subordinate position, if I apologize to you, I am kind of at your mercy for what's next.
Right. Well, and you're lowering yourself. You're saying, hey, I was wrong and you were right in a sense, maybe. Mm-hmm. Or you're right to be hurt.
That's fascinating. Subordinate. You know, that's maybe another reason people don't apologize. They don't want to be subordinate to somebody.
Well, that's what these authors are saying. But I mean, when we humble ourselves, that's what we're doing. I mean, think of Jesus humbling himself when he washed the feet of the disciples.
Right. Humiliating, dirty, sweaty, grungy feet.
Well, and he was the rabbi or the teacher. Mm-hmm. And he said, no, I'm going to become your servant and wash your feet. That was making himself less, putting himself in a subordinate position. So, you know, I think it takes courage to admit when we're wrong and to take that lower position. And I think if we struggle with doing that, we can, pray like David did in Psalm 139, which is, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts and see if there be any grievous way in me. Because I think when we ask God to reveal how we've hurt our spouse, he helps soften our hearts to respond with humility.
That's good.
So, all right, you ready for your number 2?
I am.
All right. So first we humble ourselves and then we say, I'm sorry for.
So specific.
Right.
Name it.
Yeah. Be specific. Like, I'm sorry I interrupted you, or I'm sorry I snapped earlier. Because when we name it, it shows ownership.
Mm-hmm. I find that naming it, but then elaborating even in a way that's not trying to defend myself. I don't want to be defensive, but elaborating it, I think it fleshes out the apology, makes it more substantial when forgiveness is extended.
Right. Yeah. Well, and those authors of the book, Sorry, 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 they point out that saying I'm sorry matters more than I regret. Like, don't say, I regret that I did that. Say, I'm sorry for yada, yada, because sorry centers on how the other person feels, while regret centers on how we feel. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, this is really heavy.
So Harvard Health Publishing called article on there called The Art of a Heartfelt Apology basically reminds us not to use vague or minimizing language. because and adding if, like I said earlier, because the tiny if shifts the responsibility away from us.
Right. I'm sorry if you felt hurt by what I said.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
That's a pathetic non-apology.
Right. Yeah. All right. Ready for number 3? So we have humble heart. I'm sorry for.
Sorry, I get triggered by I'm sorry if. I'm sorry if whatever. Oh,
yeah. If in air quotes, right?
Yeah.
All right. Number 3 is avoid excuses, which you started to kind of hint at. So a good apology doesn't include a but. We can explain what happened, but we need to be careful not to justify it.
Right. I think that's important because, and it's a fine line. I think if I snapped at you for some reason, I can explore, what led me to do that snapping, but that needs to be in sort of a discussion and not a defense of my snapping.
Right. Well, and that Harvard article even suggests saying there's no excuse because sometimes there really isn't one. So we can say, I did that. This is why I believe I did that, but there's still no excuse for me doing it.
That's tricky. Yeah, but that's good. Right.
Well, and I think with your spouse, like with each other, sometimes it is helpful to explain why you believe you did something hurtful because it gives both you and your spouse insight.
Right.
And it helps you watch for that kind of behavior in the future. So I do think there is helpfulness in that as long as it's not being used as an excuse to justify it.
Right. Some of the best, most meaningful conversations are apologies.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're getting to the heart of a matter.
Yeah. They're just very uncomfortable.
Super duper.
All right. And the 4th step is make amends. Finally, we make things right. That might mean saying it won't happen again or backing that up with a plan.
Restitution, same thing or not really?
I guess so. I mean, it depends. It's not – define what you mean by restitution.
Well, that word just came to mind. I don't think restitution is the right word because it implies that you can pay off, you can make right your situation by making some sort of – I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, okay, say that
again.
You break my favorite Starbucks mug by accident.
I would figure out a way to get you a new mug.
To replace it.
Absolutely.
That would be
Got it.
Example of that.
It's putting effort and behind the words of the apology.
Yeah, and I think it kind of depends on what happened. And I think Dr. Gary Chapman, he has a whole thing on the apology languages. I think he really delves well into when, maybe you should have a plan for how that's not going to happen again or when restitution is needed.
Right. No, that's good. Like if I bump into your car or break your mug or wash your clothes wrong or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if you bump into your car, it's my car too. But
right.
Yeah. Well, I think those are all examples of things that have happened, but maybe not between us. But maybe we've had that experience with someone else. All right. So when it's all put together, what's a good apology sound like?
Let's hear it.
Okay, well, The Art of a Heartfelt Apology, which was that article over at Harvard Health, offers this example. I'm sorry I lost my temper last night. I've been under a lot of pressure at work, but that's no excuse for my behavior. I love you and I will try harder not to take my frustrations out on you. Because that's humility, ownership, and love. Yeah,
I'd say you need to be a little careful with the I've been under a lot of pressure at work because that feels like an excuse. I'm always under pressure at work. So I could always use that as an excuse. But
that's true, but there are times when you are more under pressure and something that might come up between the two of us is kind of that, straw that breaks the...
Maybe this is another way that the apology could include specifics. If you're saying I'm under pressure at work, you could say, I have this client, Bill, that's been like a pain in my side and I'm just raw with that.
Right.
I'll try to deal with Bill better.
Yeah.
And then I'll be able to deal with you better. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, if this apology said, I've been under a lot of pressure at work and you're only adding to it, then that's not good. But I think this, where it's like, I've been under a lot of pressure at work, it kind of gives an explanation, but that's no excuse for my behavior. And it gives an opportunity to talk about, okay, the next time you're under a lot of pressure at work.
Let's do something different.
Right. Okay, what can I could say.
Maybe don't snap at me.
Please don't snap at me. But what can I do? Because maybe I was it doesn't justify it, but maybe I was somehow adding to the pressure. You know what I mean? I think it's a good conversation starter.
It's a great conversation starter. And I like the idea of specifics. You know, the more specific, I think, more real.
Well, and I do think, and this is totally not on my script, I do think when you offer specifics, you can get to the heart of what hurt your spouse.
Right.
Because maybe you think something specifically hurt me, and that's not really what hurt me about the situation. So that's another way it opens up conversation.
That's great.
But I also think if I'm going to respond and say, well, okay, but this is why I was really hurt, this part of it, I have to also do it in not a accusatory sort of way where the conversation will just shut down.
Right. Absolutely. Oh,
So-
that's great. That's a great way to do an apology.
All right, you ready to recap?
I am. Let's recap
Okay.
again.
So to recap, why do we struggle to apologize? Sometimes it's because 1, we don't want to face the consequences of our actions. 2, we cling to perfectionism, or it's more about our identity. It's like connected to not wanting to say we're wrong. And 3, we are prideful. But that's where humility and asking God to help us comes in. So once we humble our hearts, we can give a sincere, heartfelt apology by saying, I'm sorry for, so being specific, avoiding excuses, and making amends.
Great.
And when we do that, we can rebuild trust one sincere word at a time. All right, we're going to take one more break. But for those listening, stick around because when we come back, we'll share this week's Us Time Challenge.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I was finishing undergrad and got credit cards because I couldn't work full-time. So that started the credit card journey for me.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-793-8548.
And then when I got married, we combined our credit card debt and it became impossible to pay off on our own. At that point, I was like, I don't know where to turn. And then I found Trinity.
Trinity will consolidate your accounts into one easy-to-manage monthly payment, reduce your interest, and possibly improve your credit score. You'll save thousands.
I initially was scared to call, and immediately I felt relief. I mean, in a matter of 3 years, we've already paid down $20,000 in credit card debt, which is huge.
Call Trinity at 1-800-793-8548. That's 1-800-793-8548.
Did you know that Gen Z and millennials are leading the resurgence in church attendance? That's right. New research out from Glue and Barna as part of the State of the Church initiative shows that Gen Z and millennials are now attending church more regularly than older generations. This is a historic reversal in church trends. And Glue, spelled Gloo, is at the center of all of this. They're the technology platform for the faith ecosystem, connecting you with the latest research, technology, and values-aligned AI that supports churches, and ultimately, human flourishing. Glue is on a mission to serve those who serve, the pastors, leaders, publishers, and more in the faith ecosystem. That's high tech for a higher purpose. You can stay up to date with everything happening at Glue and across the entire faith ecosystem by texting JOIN to 46816. And when you text today, they'll send you the latest research from Glue and Barna about this historic church trend. Again, that's the word JOIN to 46816.
So this week's Us Time Challenge, you might have something to add to it, but
Okay.
I was thinking to look back at your recent apologies. Were they more about you or about your spouse? And what can you do differently next time to make your apology more genuine and loving?
So this could be something that the listener does by themselves,
Yeah.
just reflecting
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
a conversation with your spouse.
I mean, it could, if both spouses kind of reflect on this, it could be a conversation.
That's good. Let's do it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on the Team Us podcast. We're looking forward to next time as we keep talking about how grace, commitment, and cooperation can help couples live the everyday moments of marriage together.
Team Us with Ted and Ashley Slater is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review the podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.
At Thrivent, planning your finances is bigger than money. It's a way to support the people, causes, and community you love. Because helping you put your faith into action is at the heart of what we do. Thrivent, where money means more. Connect with us at Thrivent.com.